Okay, we're continuing with the hidden history of nutrition, health, and science by me, Pete Rogers. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit about the effect of religion on health. And you have to talk about religion. If anybody tells you that you don't need religion together with science, they're a liar or they're an idiot. You can't have good science without good religion and ethics. The reason is, there's always a lot more money to be made by lying to people and abusing them and torturing them than you get from helping them. So you have to have ethics whereby you say, I'm going to help these people and I'm going to do what's right even though I don't get money for that. Okay? You have to have ethics. There is no way around it. You know, the average dummy thinks, oh, science is objective. No, it is not. Most science is fake. The vast majority of articles in the medical journals, the scientific journals, the nutrition journals are either micro questions that are insignificant or they are fake and dishonest to promote and sell things. Okay, that is a fact. One of the reasons I'm on the internet is because I know what a crock of BS it is, and I'm trying to give a chance to the intelligent pros. Okay, the regular pros, conformist dummies, there's no hope for them. They're all going to get chopped up like, they're just cannon fodder for the machine, okay? But the intelligent pros, I want to give them a chance, okay? So here's a book by Harold Koenig called Is Religion Good for Your Health? And the point of it was all of the major religions, their practicing members are much healthier than people who are not religious. Now, you don't have to be part of an organized church, but I do think you should be religious. And I don't mean spiritual. I think spiritual is a BS term. But I think you should have some sense of God and prayer and meaning in your life. And, the Bible gives a moral foundation. It says man is created in the image of God. That's a big deal. Therefore, because we're created in the image of God, we're part divine as well as part beast. Therefore, being part divine, we're entitled to natural rights like privacy, freedom. We should not be abused, okay? That's a big deal, okay? Now, for example, if you look at Alcoholics Anonymous, the people who you got to replace one addiction with another. So the people who quit alcohol and became Christians, they did much better than the ones who didn't have anything to replace it for. And Carl Jung had noticed that people, if they don't have religion, they end up unhappy. And in my experience, they end up much more likely to, first of all, be devastated by a setback. Everybody in life has sadness, setbacks, disappointments, and a sense of optimism that comes from religion and purpose and meaning. It helps give you the energy to bounce back and try to make something out of your life despite, the sadness of some event. We all go through that. Okay, here's a book called Psychological Seduction, The Failure of Modern Psychology. Modern psychology is a joke. A psychologist is a puppet of the system designed to rip off the pros, okay? They're not your friend, okay? They got psychologists in the schools. What's their goal? To destroy families. They got marriage psychologists. What's their goal? To cause divorce, okay? They're a bunch of jerks. I never heard of a divorce psychologist that didn't try to promote a divorce, okay? They side with the woman, they destroy the marriage, they destroy the future of the children. They're scum, okay? I mean, that's what they are. We should, tell the truth about this, okay? So, the point of this book about psychological seduction is the psychology of Christianity is a million times better than the psychology of psychology. Look at Freud. Freud was like a criminal, okay? I mean, he was funny. Like if a woman was frigid to her husband, he'd give her electroshock. I thought that was amusing, okay? But then he'd turn his back to the patient and degrade them, saying, you want to have sex with your mother? I mean, what an asshole, okay? It's nonsense, okay? You don't even know what sex is when you're young, okay? I didn't know what sex was until I was, I think I was like in 6th or 7th grade when the basketball got stuck in the little wedge-like side thing between the hoop and the backboard, and I climbed up, and I'm like, hey, what just happened? That was pleasant, okay? I mean, before that, I wanted to have sex with my mother. Are you insane? I had no concept whatsoever. I asked my older brother, I go, what was that? He goes, oh, that's what sex is. Oh, okay, thank you. All right, Christianity says life is meaning. Atheism says life has no meaning. Christianity says you're created in the image of God. That's the biggest compliment you can give a human. Atheistic Darwinism says you're just a chimp that talks. Life is meaningless. No one cares about you. So, do you understand something is that once you go down the path of atheistic Darwinism, which is taught in all the high schools, colleges, and grad schools, is okay, what you're saying is that a person is of no value, that a person is just a talking monkey, and they really have no rights, and they're not entitled to anything. They can go screw themselves. They should shut up and do as they're told. They're just a farm animal. That's what you're saying. They're a farm animal owned by the secular ruler. That's what it means. Okay? That's why it's a big deal. If you want a system that says you're a talking monkey with no rights, good luck to you. And that's what the current system says. I prefer a Christian ethics system that says people are created in the image of God, they're part divine, therefore we should do our best for them, no matter who they are and what they are. Okay? Because most people are pathetic, okay? They're weak, they're ignorant, they really can't fend for themselves at all. This has been my experience, the vast majority of them. Okay? Let's see. And the public schools are really religious schools for teaching the religion of atheistic Darwinism. Okay? They say there is no God, and as Dostoevsky had said in Brothers Karamazov, if there is no God, then everything is permitted, including cannibalism. And nowadays, after abortions, the babies are made into pieces, and part of that is used to make medications that are eaten consistent with cannibalism. So we practice cannibalism in the modern world because of our atheistic Darwinism ethics. That's just a fact, okay? And the priests of this evil behavior are the psychologists. They're the ones that promote all this stuff. And whatever new BS comes along, they celebrate it. They accept it. They don't think about it. They don't have their own, they don't have opinions. They don't have educations of any significance, okay? Christianity's been around a long time, for 1,000 years, and it has good advice. It says, be nice to everyone. Okay. Psychology says, do as the system tells you to. These are your new pronouns, and you must enforce this. It tells them that, grade school kids should, have gender-affirming surgery, which is just a euphemism for saying, we want you to castrate children. Okay. That's an evil thing to do. And then the MAID system, medical assistance in dying, says, we want you to euthanize children and old people. Okay. That's insane. Okay, and then you're going to go to a psychologist for relationship advice, and they're going to tell you, oh, I don't know the difference between a man and a woman. That's nonsense. Okay, it's absolute nonsense, and they don't know anything about health. Okay, look at Jordan Peterson. Okay, he's like the smartest psychologist around. He eats a carnivore diet, makes himself sick. He's addicted to benzodiazepines. Okay, don't get me wrong. He did say some good things, and I did learn some useful things from his lectures. But in terms of health advice, he's a moron, okay? I mean, take benzodiazepine. He encourages people to take neuropsychopharmacology drugs. They all cause brain damage. They all cause a chemical lobotomy. There aren't any good ones. The antidepressants, the tricyclics, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, lithium, Haldol, they're all bad. The benzos, they're all bad. They all slowly or quickly cause a chemical lobotomy. Psychiatric drugs is a joke. The field of psychiatry is a joke. Okay, Thomas Schaas had it correct when he talked about the myth of mental illness. Okay, now look at the difference in how these questions are answered between psychology and Christianity. If you ask Christianity, how should I behave? It'll say, follow the 10 Commandments. Try to imitate Christ and the saints. Psychology can't answer that question. It doesn't know what right or wrong is. It doesn't really know what good behavior is other than to violate, the person of some other person. If you ask Christianity, what is good art? It'll say, easy. Look at the paintings and sculptures of the Christian artists, like in the Italian Renaissance, Raphael, Michelangelo, Botticelli, Roger van der Weyden, Caravaggio, Joseph Vernet, Edmund Leighton, John Everett Millay. It goes on and on. They got a bazillion fantastic artists, okay? Psychology can't answer that question. It doesn't know what a good painting is. They don't know the difference between modern art and real art, okay? They don't know the difference between real sculpture and some scumbag lowlife like Picasso, piece of crap, okay? Okay, if you ask Christianity, what is good architecture? They'll go, easy. The cathedrals, the Ivy League schools designed after the cathedrals in the Gothic revival. That's easy. Those are the best buildings by far of anything in the world. Psychology can't answer that question. And as Tom Wolfe, the American writer, said, modern buildings in societies run by atheistic Darwinism, they look like animal cages and they always have a statue of a turd in front. If you ask Christianity, what is the meaning of life? It'll say, to be a good Christian, to love God, to love your family, to help other people, to try to make the world a better place. It can answer these questions easily, and these are the most important questions. If you ask psychology, what is the meaning of life? They have no answer. To them, life has no meaning. Atheism says life has no meaning. And they might give you some statement like, well, try to manage your time so you can remain employed. Try to get along so you don't get fired. Okay, they can't give you anything beyond sort of a barren, empty, minimal thing. Christianity celebrates the family, fertility, babies, heterosexual traditional families. Be fruitful and multiply. Okay? Create a nice society where everybody's better off. What does psychology encourage? Psychology encourages feminism, which comes from Satanism. Abortions, killing a baby. They say, oh, it's a choice. The baby doesn't choose to be killed. That's not the baby's choice. Whatever new pronoun comes along, they celebrate. Okay? They celebrate all these things that are being done to lower the numbers of our, you know what it's called, the population, all right? They celebrate all these things that are specifically designed to collapse, to destroy what we would consider civilization, Western civilization. They celebrate its destruction. They're promoting it, okay? I mentioned already these other things. They're evil, okay? Mammon and Moloch. There it is. Psychology will always agree with the establishment point of view. It is the priesthood of atheistic Darwinism which controls power at this time and seeks the destruction of the West, okay? So why would anybody want that? I want freedom. I want liberty. I want the right to, enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, it's against that. Okay, so that's why real science comes from the Catholic Church. All right, here's another good book on what a joke psychology is compared to Christianity. It's by Richard Gans called Psychobabble. It's not a coincidence that 99+% of the beautiful painting is from Christianity. 99% of the good music is from Christianity. All the great composers are Christian, almost all of them, 99% of them. All right? And the same thing with the great artists, the great sculptors, the great writers. Why is it that it produces the best of everything over and over and over again? The best hospitals, the best universities, because it's right about the human condition. That's why it's the best at everything. And the idea of we honor God by studying His creation produces the best science. The idea of we honor God by trying to create ourselves things that praise Him, okay, creates the best art. So, and it gives everybody, why does everybody want to move to the West? Nobody wants to move to all these third world crap holes. Nobody wants to move to these atheistic countries. Everybody wants to move to the West. Why? Because it's nice to people. All the stuff about the West being racist and intolerant, it's all bullshit. Everybody wants to come here. Everybody of every different color, shape, form, size, group, whatever wants to be here. Why? Because it creates the best societies. Anyways, that's it for today. Hope you found it helpful.